I mean, Jose and I were chatting now from the free surf today, and he's just like, bro, Jordy is mental out there. Like, he's got such an affinity for the wave. He's won it twice. Um, is he having a bad year? Yeah, he's having a bad year for Jordy Smith. But I mean, I think all surfers hit those runs. And I mean, Jordy's having a bad year and he's sitting in 15th in the world. I mean, it's like a terrible year. I free surf with Jordy a lot when he's home, and often I'm quite happy just to sit on the shoulder and watch him. He really, really tears Jobo apart. You know, barrel, turn, air. And he has very unique lines at supers no one else has as well. So yeah, I would never bet against Jordy at supers.
Nice. All right. Well, hey Kai, man, thanks, dude. I know you've had a busy schedule lately, and you just did commentating at Bolito, right? Are you doing commentating at Jeffries?
No, I used to do Jobo when it was still Billabong, but I haven't been on since Billabong sort of left the event. But I then went to Bolito Pro with Billabong. You obviously did, and I'd done Bolito before that, and then I've been with Bolito ever since. So
right.
I'm sure I'll do Jobo at some point again, but I think, you know, with the international crew on the CTs, and that there's not really much space for local guys, but you never know, they might decide at some point that they want to get some local flavor on, and then hopefully we get a gap. But love Bolito. It's an amazing event. It was so nice to have it as a challenger again with the level of surfing, and it was cool. It's nice to just get a little spin in the web booth and on the beach. I mean, to be honest, I prefer beach. You're just a bit more part of the event and the surfers and, and like the whole vibe. Whereas in the web, you kind of feel like you're locked away in a little cupboard somewhere watching, you know. So it's cool as well. It's certainly nice to have that go in the web and be able to give your opinion and be honest about what you watch.
The internet's a little choppy there for a second.
Certainly not going to go like that. It's just told me I'm unstable. So I'm on my phone here.
Yeah, I think now you're good. I don't know what happened. Dude,
I have my phone open.
Oh, there you
go. Welcome to Africa.
Exactly, man. Hey, look, I didn't give you a proper introduction, and the reason is that if I read all the things that you do, I don't have enough time on this show. Bro, I'm going to look at this. You're a filmer, you're a radio DJ, commentator, you've judged events in South Africa. I think you did commentating. I heard your voice in Rio. I think you've commentated in other parts. Is this true?
I haven't done overseas commentary except in Sri Lanka, where I did an event for Red Bull called Red Bull Ride My Wave, which was kind of what got the ball rolling for competitive surfing in Sri Lanka. But other than that, pretty much commentary-wise, South Africa and Sri Lanka. But, you know, back in the day, I traveled quite a bit, and I do work in other sports, and I've been international in that. So snowboarding, free ride, mountain bike, skate, BMX, freestyle motocross shows. So I've worked on big international events here in South Africa, but not too much work overseas. So mostly here in South Africa, but pretty widely sort of distributed across the Extreme Sports Network here.
I might want to circle back to Sri Lanka because I got great waves there, but I don't want to tell any secrets. But I want to finish your list. Brand ambassador, consultant, you hold a rolling retro event where everyone rides old school boards. I thought that was cool. And I think that's down at Llandudno, where a friend of mine lives, and you were an actor in a feature film. And if you ever get big, Kai, you can come to Hollywood. I live right near the Hollywood sign. I'll put you up here, but in exchange, I want a place when I get to South Africa, when I make my return, bro. That's my dream.
I don't want to say embarrassingly, but my feature film role was Blue Crush 2, which was in South Africa.
Hey, it doesn't matter. If it's on IMDb, it counts.
It counts.
But dude, I love your analysis in the booth. And I think they should have more local flavor, just like they have local flavor of wild cards. They should be mixing you guys in. And I need to steal some of your adjectives as you describe surfing. It's really great, and I appreciate it. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm a fan. And I watched some of the Bolito event, but it's on the opposite schedule of us here. And what I really want to do right before I jump into J-Bay, I wanted to ask about, well, the way we met was through your show. And if you guys don't know, I think you should subscribe to The Regular Guy. And it's essentially Kai is like the rest of us, rides boards for regular guys, like a regular guy, and even not so much like a regular guy at Jeffreys Bay. You scored recently in the Paizel episode. You test drove the Paizel mid-length crisis. You want to talk about that a little bit? And your show. Cool. Tell us about your show.
Well, for a long time, Ian Thirdle, who's my videographer and a great photographer as well, we were always doing the WSL sort of local series together, and we'd drive a lot together over the series. So we'd always be bouncing things off of each other creatively. And I was always like, I love Stab in the Dark. I love like those kind of shows. It's amazing. And I want to see those guys testing boards, and especially like Jordy and Taj and Mick, you know, like my favorite surfers testing boards, being brutally honest. It's great. Right. You know, and that's what I really, especially about like Jordy, like he's so brutally honest in those tests. Sometimes like brutally.
I appreciate it.
But if you're gonna test a board, like be brutally honest, and not every board goes the same for everyone. So, you know, what's good for one is not always the same for someone else. And I was just like, you know, I'm not a pro surfer. I mean, I've surfed for 30 odd years. I'm in the industry. I'm paid to analyze surfing, but I'm certainly not a pro. I've had you know, I still compete for fun in like the Masters and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm never going to be like one of the top guys, but I'm a decent surfer, and I've got a lot of hours. And I was just like, you know, why isn't there a review show for guys like me? Because if Taj and Mick and Dan are going, this board's amazing, it's not amazing for me. I'm 115 kilos, 6 foot. Like, I'm a big guy, and those boards ain't going for me, especially if like Mick and the small guys are riding them. So yeah, Jordy's maybe a bit closer to being relevant for me. But so COVID hit and everything, and this idea had been bouncing in my head, and I needed some work because obviously our industry had just been completely shut down. And I got hold of some of the guys in South Africa I know who do some of the brands. I was like, look, August is coming up. We open for travel, at least locally in the Eastern Cape. I can get to J-Bay. In August we're going to get waves. Would you be interested in sending a board and paying a bit of cash for the production? And Ian and I go, and we want to shoot 6 episodes. We want to do 6 boards, 6 episodes, and just have a go at this thing. And I'm going to call it The Regular Guy because I'm a regular footer. It just all kind of makes sense. And I was really like pleasantly surprised when 6 shapers were like, this sounds like a great idea, let's go for it, you know. And I mean, I know a lot of the guys, I've ridden some of their boards before, but like Warren de Villiers, who does Channel Islands and Chile locally in South Africa, I didn't really know him, but ran it over him, and he was like, we're in. Like, if you do more seasons, we're in too. This sounds great. Yeah. So he's been super supportive. We've had a Channel Islands every season. And it's nice because we get like 1 or 2 international brands, and then I've got like core guys like Hugh Thompson, Dutchy, you know, Smith Shapes, and a whole bunch of other great shapers like Matt and all of them that have been involved in a few seasons as well. And we banged out like 4 or 5 seasons over 2 years, and the show's doing pretty good. I mean, we're not hitting Stab in the Dark numbers, but I get a lot of positivity back from around the world. Like, I get such nice comments from people, and it's just been nice to do. And I mean, you know, the page is growing, and we want to keep it going. This year's been a little bit difficult just because of timings and a few other things. But I got Frank Solomon going, hey, bro, don't you want to grab a Pizel and just test it? And I managed to pull that off, and we scored crazy good J-Bay.
Oh, it looked good.
I got a really nice session down a beach break in Cape Town that's normally quite a heavy water sort of spot. It was a bit smaller. So that was a nice first session on that board. But then when we got to J-Bay, I'm testing a Zeal carbon shortboard as well. And I'd surfed that in the morning. And then the swell got really big, like it started pumping. And Supers was a bit wonky. And I had a look at the point, which is down the bottom of Supers, which is normally like the longboard and Grom wave. Like it's a really nice wave, but it's not Supers. But when it gets big, there's pretty much almost no one out because it's quite heavy. And I thought, like, well, let's take the mid and see how she goes. And I had an incredible session, probably one of my best sessions of the year. So it was really cool. And it's not, you know, with mid lengths, everyone I think thinks like mids are for like average waves. I suppose through my show, I've turned that on its head because I've surfed like really heavy waves on mids. I've broken a few, I won't lie. I have big boards in heavy waves. They're going to break. It's just unfortunate. But yeah, I've surfed the Channel Islands at firing 6-foot Supers. That wasn't filmed, but had one of the sessions of my life, and then pulled into a car park screamer, and that was left in 3 pieces. The Chile mid on the south coast, I surfed like a 6 to 8 foot point break, was having a great time, and then got caught by a set, and that was broken in half. So Warren de Villiers is probably hating me because I keep breaking his mids. And then the Hugh Thompson at Port Alfred, the CI and the Chile also at Port Alfred. I mean, Port Alfred's a phenomenal sand bottom right point too, and it was pretty big for those tests too. So I think if you want to surf mids, you know, they're great in average waves, but they're actually a lot of fun in good waves because you get so much drive and speed off of them. And the new mids are designed to surf. They're designed to be put on the rail and given a go. And I was up on a cyclone swell in Mozambique at a very like quiet spot. There's no one there, luckily with a jet ski. And I happened to try to take the CI 7.6 out, and I probably got the best stand-up barrel of my life on that thing. So, you know, they are, but you're risking them. They're gonna break easier than shortboards, that's for sure.
Yeah, and look, that's what I ride. I ride mid lengths, and I was actually looking at the Pizel. I'd seen it in the shop, and it looked a little gunny for me, but I like the way you present each board. The one that I'm really keen on is not just the Chile, but that Bonzer biscuit looks like a lot of fun too. That flat Bonzer biscuit for waves around here in Huntington Beach, and that looks really fun. And congratulations on the show. It is,
thank you.
It is relatable. It's entertaining, and you surf a lot of different waves. And I keep telling everyone there's no waves in South Africa, but you're blasting that myth out. I think some of that. Now, where you're over, I see you surf Vic Bay a lot. Is that kind of where you live?
I've been based in Plettenburg Bay, which is about an hour, 45-minute, an hour from Vic. Plet at the moment, we've got good beach breaks in Plet, like a lot of them, but we've also got a very healthy great white population, which is just getting healthier by the day. I mean, a swimmer was killed like about a week ago there.
Damn.
So in winter, it's a bit dodgy surfing in Plet at the moment. So like if you want to surf, generally, you know, I lived in Cape Town a long time. You'll drive 2-3 hours there for a surf. So wow. 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back doesn't seem like such a thing for me on a nice piece of road. And Vic's super consistent. It's a really nice spot, nice locals that I know. So they bear with me as well. And so, their spot.
Yeah, for sure. Filming at the spot must be sensitive. I was going to jump in and just ask to give people kind of a relative perspective, people watching this from Australia or Los Angeles or, you know, US. How far is Plet from J Bay? And then J-Bay from
Well,
Cape Town. Just kind of give us a rough sketch of the garden route right there.
South Africa's obviously, we've got a big coastline, and you've got two coastlines. You've got the west and the east, with Cape Town pretty much at the pivotal point between the two. Cape Town west coast is sort of Elands Bay, which is probably the most well-known point break up there. There's a lot of waves up there. We did the Namakwa Challenge last year, which is further up, and I mean, there's a whole another zone of crazy heavy waves up there, but I think only about 5%, maybe 1% of surfers on this planet are willing to go and surf that stuff. I certainly would rather sit on the beach and watch, but I mean, it's up there.
Yeah.
Do you want it? So anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours up the coast from Cape Town, there are loads of options. Obviously, very cold water up that side, much like Namibia. And then from, I mean, Cape Town itself, it's got oodles of all the way up through the Boerland, you know, up, I mean, Plet's 6.5, 7 hours from Cape Town. So it's a big drive. Mossel Bay is about, you know, you hit Mossel Bay pretty much first. There are good waves there. And then there's a whole bunch of spots in between. Vic's there. I mean, you know, I'm not, you know, J-Bay, Vic Bay, if I shoot and, you know, you can see it's Vic Bay or J-Bay. I mean, you can't really hide it away. But I mean, I've shot a lot of spots where you'll notice I don't say where it is. I'll just say like we're in this area, you know. And I don't want to give away like underground spots. No one does. So I do try to respect that. But you know, if you had a spot like Durban, New Pier, Supers, Vic, I mean, people know those spots. So I don't think there's too much issue with that. But yeah, and then I mean, Plet, hour and a half up is J-Bay. So I was doing a lot of swell chases, day trips and 2-day trips for J-Bay. And then you go PE's like another hour, then Port Alfred, and then East London and Transkei, and you just talk loads of waves. Then the South Coast, which is one of the most wave-rich places in the winter I think you could ever go. It's incredible. And then Durban, and then the North Coast, and then Mozambique. So I mean you've got
it's
you've
insane.
got options out your ears, bro. But
it's the amount of coastline maybe California has, but it's just all exposed. And there's so many nooks and crannies you're going to find an offshore wind, is what I discovered when I was there. And it's stunning coastline. And I'm in LA, where maybe the only animal I'll see is a Pomeranian in a backpack on a girl walking in Beverly Hills. And you guys have these amazing animals, flora and fauna abound. It's an incredible place. But I want to kind of shift gears and focus on Jeffreys Bay, because that event is tomorrow, and I've got to figure out a way to stay up all night for the next few nights. But
I think the good news for you is tomorrow. I don't know if it'll go tomorrow, but Wednesday, Thursday, it's looking.
Oh, it's like on.
There's big swell coming, and maybe tomorrow afternoon the first 4 heats are the ladies. They might get the ladies on way, because the swell is pulling in. But Wednesday, Thursday, and then long term there's another swell coming. The winds are a little bit iffy in the mornings, but I don't see that being a problem. And I think the boys are pretty keen to get going in 8-foot supers.
Yeah,
it'll be good to see. A lot of new guys, 4 South Africans, which is the most South Africans we've had in years, which is
that's
great.
Cool, man. I think that's great. And I guess, you know what, let's stay there for a second. Tell me about the 4 South Africans. And I just had a debate on a live broadcast I did. Who do you take in your fantasy league? Do you take Jordy or do you take Matthew McGilvray? And that was our debate. Who do you take? Let's say you got to take one of them. Who is it that you would take?
Look, at the moment, 14 and 15, and it's Matty and 14, which is the first time in a very long time that Jordy's not been the highest ranked South African. So they're not going to meet up with each other unless they go all the way, which is quite crazy too, because normally the South
How cool would that be?
That would be amazing. I would love for that. But I mean, they've hit each other in heats, I think, already like 3 times this year at the start of the season. So Look, Jordy is, I mean, Jose and I were chatting now from the free surf today, and he's just like, bro, Jordy is mental out there. Like, he's got such an affinity for the wave. He's won it twice. Um, is he having a bad year? Yeah, he's having a bad year for Jordy Smith. But I mean, I think all surfers hit those runs. And I mean, Jordy's having a bad year and he's sitting in 15th in the world. I mean, it's like a terrible year for those guys.
It's a good point.
And J-Bay Chopu, and I mean, he's a machine at Chopu the last few years. He's really upped his game and that stuff. So I think, you know, 2 good results. I mean, I don't think he's going to make top 5 this year. I think he knows that, which is a pity because Trestles is such a good wave for him. But J-Bay, if you bet against Jordy, I think you're being stupid. He is. There's no one else out there that understands the dynamics of the wave that well and just has so much power up there. I free surf with Jordy a lot when he's home, and often I'm quite happy just to sit on the shoulder and watch him. He really, really tears J-Bay apart. You know, barrel, turn, air. And he has very unique lines at supers no one else has as well. So, yeah, I would never bet against Jordy at supers. You're going to be chancing it. But Matty is on a roll. He's having his best year ever. So his confidence is like really high right now. He surfs supers really good too. And I've just got this feeling Matty this year is going to do really well. He's confident up, and the judges seem to be really liking his approach. You know, like if I look at El Salvador, I look at Brazil even, like, I mean, I never would have really called Matty for Brazil, and he had a great event. So
yeah, he did.
You know, so 14th, he's in a great seed. He's not going to meet anyone huge for a few rounds. You know, no one wants. I mean, Jose's got Felipe in his first.
He does. He's got a tough road ahead, and he's going to face Felipe no matter. I can't remember who else is in that heat.
It's Kyle, but then John pulled out in the siege chain, so he's got Nat Young, which is also not easy.
Yeah, Nat Young's
really good out there, but I think they're going to get a big fright too because Jose's knows supers well, and he's frothing, and he's got nothing to lose. We spoke about it tonight, so he's going to give it a go. He's certainly not going to hold back. But what an opportunity too to surf against the number one, you know, at top. So, and Felipe rips J-Bay, but I mean, he rips J-Bay. So it's going to be an interesting heat. And I mean, and then Luke Thompson. I mean,
tell us about Luke. I know he did well in Bolito. I don't know much about him. I don't think anyone knows much about him.
Well, Luke's been one of the top juniors coming up to the ranks. I mean, we all knew he was going to go places. He rips, and he's a really nice kid. Comes from a great family in Durban, New Pier. On his front side, he's amazing. He's one of the most complete surfers I've seen in his age group for a long time. I mean, speaking to Lily, the head judge for the Challenger series, I mean, he was blown away by Luke. He was like really, really impressed. And his frontside arc is up there with Jordy and John and those guys. Like, he's got a really solid rail game, but he can do the airs and all of that stuff really well too. And I mean, I didn't think I'd be talking about Luke Thompson at J-Bay, but he had such a good run as a wild card through Bolito. And I think he'll kick himself for losing that heat he lost in too. But he's got nothing to lose. He's 18. He turned 18 last week. So
yeah,
he's at the biggest event on the continent. And I spoke to him. He's just pumped. He's so excited. And he's got a big heat too. I think Chloe and I'm not sure who else was in his heat. I can't remember.
I just went through it yesterday, and now I've forgotten some of the heats. But what I was going to say was, it's really cool to see there's South African wild cards. They mucked up. I think the WSL has made a few mistakes with wild cards, and it's been this mystery bag of people that they've thrown in. And this time I feel like they got it right. And I don't know if you've seen that feel good video. I had it on my preview video of Jose being told that he's getting the wild card. It was a cool moment. And by the way, I'm Californian. I was calling him Josh, but Jose's getting this wild card, and it's just like this feel good moment, man. brings tears to your eyes. He's like so stoked.
Well,
And,
I was behind camera and I was crying.
yeah, it's amazing, dude. It was, and I saw that clip and I had to put it in, you know, and good luck to him. I'll be cheering for him. Felipe, he has some special sync with that wave. I want to pivot for a second because we didn't talk about the wave itself. And if you could just kind of walk us through the different spots. And I also want to throw in there that Jordy was very specific that Surf City, El Salvador was not a good comparison. You talk about Jordy being Jordy and telling it like it is. I friggin' love that quote. But he said you should be, you should be slapped in the face if you call this Jeffreys Bay, but was the quote. But, you know, tell us about the different spots within the point, and if you could, and also like what your feeling is about that wave, without my bias thinking how sacred it is.
I mean, for me, it's quite simple. It's the best wave in the world. I'll take firing supers over anything, and I've been a lot of places. I haven't been everywhere. Still a couple I need to test, but yeah, supers is, it's especially, I mean, I can't speak for the goofy footers, and it's a very different experience for the goofy footers.
Yeah.
It's any goofy footer that excels at its supers gets my respect, because I can't imagine surfing that wave on my backhand. But on my front side, it's my favorite wave. I mean, I'm a big guy as well, so the power, just the power band out there and the wall allow me to do surfing that I can't really do on a lot of other waves.
Hey, Kai, I may have you, the internet went bad for a second there. I'm going to have you go
it's
back.
Funny too, because I think most people who struggle at supers are just going too fast. Let me just check my phone again. Better?
Yeah. And I think we left you kind of phased out at the part where you said you're a bigger guy and something, and carry on from there. Cause this is like the meat and potatoes juicy bit I wanted to hear from you, Matt.
That's just, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm 115 kilos, so I'm a big boy. I surf well over 40-liter boards. So a lot of waves don't give me, well, they don't allow me to surf how I want to surf, pretty much. And I mean, it's been a problem my whole life. You know, you go in these soft waves and I can't really do what I want to do. Whereas supers, I've never had that problem. Like, from takeoff, I've got that speed and power, and it's there to be utilized, you know. So the guys that struggle at supers, I generally find, are trying to surf it too fast. Like, I found it amazing. Kelly, like quite a long time ago, got Simon Anderson to shape him boards that actually slowed him down for supers. And that's like, that was a big turning point for me with supers. Is like, slow down. Like you don't need to go that, because if you're going that fast, you're never in the right spot, you know. And that's, I think, what a lot of guys don't understand about supers is you actually need to slow down and surf the wave. Like, there's a lot more going on behind you than you realize. And when you start clicking with that at supers is when you really start to like actually appreciate how good the wave is. She can also be very unforgiving. If you get things wrong at supers, you're going so fast that you're going to feel it. You're going to break boards. And there is a lot of power in the wave when the swell's up properly. The barrel's quite high. Like you can't go low on this barrel at all. You've got to like drive through it. And that took me a long time to figure out too. It took me years to figure out, like, I was approaching the barrel completely wrong at supers. And I mean, as a normal guy, it would take me a lot longer. Obviously, you know, your Felipes, etc., figure these things out a lot quicker. But, you know, Andy Irons, he struggled. I mean, I knew Andy when he first came here. I didn't think he was going to come back. The wave just embarrassed him basically. And then, I mean, but then he came and spent like 2 months here and spent the time in the lineup and figured it out. And next thing he was winning. So, he worked it out. John, I feel John hasn't worked out supers. If you watch John and supers, he does incredible things, but not for the whole wave, And I think there are a lot of surfers like at that level who, if you watch Jordy, it's dynamic the whole wave. If you watch Felipe, it's dynamic the whole wave. Whereas a lot of guys are doing incredible stuff, but it's maybe 2-3 parts of the wave. It's not the entire sort of canvas. And that to me is like when someone's a great super surfer, from the moment they take off, up above Sharon's house to the moment they pull off way down the bottom, above, the bottom channel, they've utilized that whole wave. Itzlo's kind of getting there. I still think he could go better out there. Gabriel's kind of figured it out. And then I think, this year you're going to see someone like Ethan Ewing. I have a feeling Ethan's going to absolutely tear it up. It'll be interesting to see what Jack Robbo does out there. He hasn't been here since he was like a Grom, so I'm not sure how much time he's got in the lineup. And then I'm very interested to see what Callum Robinson's going to do, because I think his surfing, if I look at how he surfs, I'm like, dang, that dude's going to do really well at supers. But will he figure out the line? It's one thing having the right surfing for it. It's another thing figuring out the wave. I mean, I can remember being a kid and sitting in the lineup and watching Tom Curren take off on his first wave at supers, and I was about 3/4 of the way down the point. I was like just in awe, because this guy took off on his first wave at a wave that we were all like as Groms like hacking at, and he just absolutely synced with it. I mean, that first wave of Tom's at supers is still one of the best waves ever ridden out here. So some guys just click with supers. They're made for it. I think Taylor Knox was another guy who did that. Mick Fanning, Joel. And then you get guys who are like, literally, like, you can't believe a guy that good is hacking so badly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for supers, you got to, number one, I think you got to spend time up there. You got to learn the wave. You got to like spend time in the water. Read all the different nuances of the different tides, the different swell directions, the different winds, and you got to like also learn how to patrol, get into that lineup, because it's a heavy lineup. You've got some really good locals. You got a hardcore local crew that are quite protective of their wave, rightly so, and you've got to earn your respect out there too. You got to you got to put your hand up, and you got to show face in that lineup, so that when you're there for the good days, you can get your waves. So there's a lot of dynamics to supers and getting good out there. I'm still trying 30 years later, but every now and then I get that good one, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, you said a lot there, and the first thing I was thinking is I totally relate to the speed thing. I got on that wave and just zoomed. I'd never felt that kind of speed before, and then I realized, I think I said it in another broadcast, that it really felt like surfing for the first time, that I was actually harnessing the wave's power in a way I'd never had before, with the rail of the board and slowing down into the sections. And I think there are some people who innately do that well. And, I'm just a regular guy like you, man. I'm not a kook, and I was never a pro, and I'm old now. But the thing is, I'm really curious to see two people you mentioned. I'm really curious to see how Ethan Ewing does, and I'm really curious to see how Jack Robinson surfs out there. I think John kind of saved himself he's got that in his back pocket, that incredible rail turn, and then just the way he holds that turn, he can score, 8s with that turn. He just busts it out. And if he gets 2 of those, he's got a good wave, and not everyone can do that. It's interesting you say he hasn't quite hooked into it. I think he needs more experience, and I'm glad he didn't come out with a bum knee. to do that. He needs to be 100%. I don't want to watch him surfing this.
You're not surfing supers with a bum knee, I promise you now. It's a very demanding wave.
No.
And it's long. So, you know, in a heat, you're surfing 5-6 runners at supers. You're at supers, and I'm getting leg cramps, you know, like it's not just that it's powerful and fast, it's a hell of a long wave. So if you get a full runner, you know, it works you. So you need to be 100% for supers. It's pointless. I mean, Kelly a few years ago with his toe, you know, I think he should have pulled out straight away and not surfed it. You could see it instantly, like the first heat he paddled out. But look, Robbo, for me, I mean, I love Jack. He's such a good guy as well, and I've been a fan of him from day one, and I've been supporting him. For me, he is a future world champion. And you know, he's got time in the water at like North Point, which has got that same power band.
It's interesting. That's an interesting comparison.
You know, he surfs bells really well. So, you know, if you take North Point and bells and kind of, they have like a little funky love baby that's half a kilometer long, that could be supers. So I think, look, my feeling is that he's really gonna do well, but there's just that question mark in that I haven't seen him much in the lineup over the last few years, you know. He hasn't come to J-Bay, so
right.
It's going